Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Because we don't know exactly how many people are going to be sharing today, I'm going to ask everyone, though, to limit their sharing to 2 or 3 minutes so that we can get everybody in. Or maybe 1 minute, as Marie says. This is a 2-hour meeting, and it could last an hour, and it might last 2 hours right to the nose. We're just not sure. So what I'm going to do is call up increments of 5 years, like 1 through 5, and 6 to 10, and so forth. And if those people can kind of assemble here, and then we'll call them up individually. And again, if they could limit their sharing to 1 or 2 minutes, we'd appreciate it so we can get everybody in. So we're going to sing Happy Birthday once. And let's do it right now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alkies. Happy birthday to you. Keep coming back. I just read the script and it says use good judgment. Okay. In using a good judgment, if we can get the people from, I guess we have more room over here, 1 through 5 years to line up over here, we'll call them then up individually. 1 through 5 years.
Over here, Felix. 1 to 5?
1 to 5.
Just 1?
What?
Right, Joe, I'll call it.
Joe.
Right, some of the folks wanting to take pictures with the cake as they can as you go through. Whoever's going to take your picture or something, can you do it on the
do it
other
over
side?
here.
That way you're out of the group and you keep the anonymity of everybody else, and it works out great.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Be careful, the table's a little wobbly, so we don't want it to fall. Okay, this is it for 1 to 5?
Yep.
Okay, who's up first?
Who's on first?
Who's first? Okay.
Good morning, my name is Felix and I am an alcoholic.
Hi, Felix.
Yes, it's my first year sober in January 28th. Thank you. It's the first time that I am in a convention. And I see Jimmy and I see my friend Ro here, and I'm very grateful for the program. In this first year, what is most important for me is that I start knowing myself with the 4th step. Wow, that 4th step is incredible for me, and it now I realize that the most problems that I have were my fault, my defect of characters, but it's really good to know that what is the truth. I don't need to blame others right now. No, I just wanna see what I am doing. No, and sometimes why? Because I see that for the first time in my life, I see what happening in my childhood, my family, father, mother, and it's the first time that I see that all those events in my childhood affect all my life. I never realized this, and this is the first time that I am sharing this because I'm very happy. That's why I'm crying because I'm very happy that the program is working me, and I just wanna be here okay, for the next 40, for the next 24 hours, because the program teach me that. And so I'm very grateful for the Roman, for the program, for all of you. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to let you know that we do have people, we have a timer. We're running for 2 minutes. When you hear the timer, kind of wrap it up. You're next. And after the meeting, we're going to cut some homemade birthday cake, so stick around. From the bakery.
Good morning, Lee Alcoholic from the Central Valley, and yeah, I've got be turning 4 years here in the 19th.
All right.
So I got to thank you. Got a chance to come to this convention 2 years ago. Came back, so nice little convention you have. Thanks for having us. And Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't think I'd ever show up in Alcoholics Anonymous because my sister actually showed up here in the 70s. She's still sober today. And when I told her I was coming to Alcoholics Anonymous, she said, it's about time. So I guess she kind of knew I was headed this way. You know, I come to this program, and it's really kind of changed my life around. You know, they talk about that serenity when you first get here, and you do the serenity prayer. Had no idea what serenity meant. And but I can relate to it today. You know, I understand what serenity means. And serenity for me, before I showed up to this room, was after that, you know, first, second, third drink, where I was okay with the world. I'm okay. And just never could keep that feeling. And I was just kind of, I always wanted to keep that feeling, never could keep it. So, you know, for those of you that are new, I guess I'm probably one of the newest ones here, I guess, at this birthday meeting. And, but I guess my word for encouragement for the newcomer would be, stick around until you really can understand what serenity means, and stick around till you feel it, because it's really pretty cool. And I'm just happy to be here, and I'll just cut my time short for there's lots of folks in this room. So I'm Lee Alcoholic. Thank you.
Okay. Was there anyone else from 1 to 5 that may have come in? Okay, if the 6 to 10 year people could come this way, we'd appreciate it. Okay, if you just give your name and the date of your sobriety and how long you've been on the program. Okay, anyone with 6? 6?
Hi, my name's Caitlin. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Caitlin.
I keep wanting to talk into this, but my very first introduction to AA as an alcoholic was 6 years ago in this hotel at this convention. And I come every year and I take a cake as tradition, come with my dad, and this past year for me has been about, it's been a lot of growth. I took my cake here last year, I took 5, and I cried because I knew I was on my way out. I was so dry you could light a match on me, and I was absolutely miserable. And my whole life has changed in the past year. I threw myself into service work with young people in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm sponsoring girls. I went through my steps again. Everything's changed. And I don't think I'm going to cry today because I'm thoroughly exhausted from dancing all night last night. But if I did, it would be of pure grace. I'm so grateful for what this program has done for me and so many lights I've seen flicker on and so many beautiful young girls. And yeah, it's an absolute honor to be sober today, so thanks.
Okay, 7? 8?
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Stephanie. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Stephanie.
Yay! I'm 8. That's awesome. I hated 7, so 8's gonna be a good year. I am so excited to take a cake here, and I love this convention, and I love my life today, and I love Alcoholics Anonymous, and I love the people in Alcoholics Anonymous. I've gained such a huge family here. It's like, it's just so amazing. I have a tiny, like, tiny family, and now I have a huge family. Like, just I don't even have enough time to hang out with all the people I want to hang out with. And what a life I have. And life gets hard. It's up and down, you know. And there's been some real big challenges in my life. And but I know what to do. And I go to an AA meeting, and I pick up the phone, and I don't drink or no matter what. And I have a sponsor, and I sponsor people, and I take commitments, and that's how I stay sober. And I have a really beautiful life. I'm a good mom. I'm a good friend. I remember what I did the next day. I don't have to say sorry. Like, it's just really like freeing and safe and comfortable. And I don't have to live a shitty life anymore, and that's really awesome. And so if you're new, welcome. Please keep coming back. If it feels awkward, this is your first convention, just keep coming back. It gets a little overwhelming with all these people at first. You know, the next year you're like, oh, I know that person. And the next year you're like, oh, I know the whole convention. And it's just really cool. And so thank you for sharing my birthday.
9?
My name's Colleen. I'm an alcoholic. I got sober 2/3/2007 at convention in Burbank. Since then, it's been a bumpy ride, but the program has done everything for me. I have gotten divorced, lost all my money, gotten a new life, bought a house, got a new car, kept my child the entire time, made new friends, bottomed out again emotionally, and risen back up. It has been the most amazing journey I've ever had in my life, and I've done a lot of fantastic things in my life. I am grateful that I found a sober sisterhood. My sponsor made me be friends with 4 other girls who are really but they are my best friends. They have laid in bed with me when I'm sick. They have saved me when I've needed a ride. They have made me dinner. They have taken care of my child. And for that, I am eternally grateful. My sponsor is the mother to all of us, as well as the friend, as well as literally the freedom maker. She gave me back my life and the freedom to make choices that are good for myself instead of choices that are bad for myself. Because my thinking isn't the greatest thinking, obviously. Thanks for letting me share, and I'm grateful for these conventions.
9, 10? Come on down.
My name is Angel, and I am an alcoholic. Angel. My sobriety date is January 4th, 2007. It's my eldest granddaughter's birthday. And my son told me if I wanted to see my granddaughter, I had to sober up for just a little bit. I went home, and my second child, who was about to give birth to my second granddaughter, told me, Dad, if you want to see your kid, your grandchild, you're going to have to sober up. Been in and out of the rooms for a long time. And I made that decision that January 4th night, you know, looking at my granddaughter crying. Shortly after, I was told that I couldn't do it for them. I had to do it for me. And you know what? I whined and I cried for about 60, 90 days, and the gentleman that became my first sponsor, we were hanging out in a Lano Club, and he took me across the street to a liquor store, and he said, grab whatever you want. And when I looked, I said, wait a minute. And he said, if it's not there, it's behind the counter, grab it. And I went and I said, I thought you're supposed to help me stay sober. He said, either get it out of your system or get a book and let's do what you got to do. Like the ladies have said, you know, it's been a bumpy ride. It's been a bumpy ride, but it's been a blessed one. I've been through a lot of things in 9 years, things that I never thought I would be able to endure sober, many that my family thought I would not be able to endure. But I'm still here. Again, if you're new, get a sponsor, read the book, do the steps. You'd be surprised what happens. All right? Thank you very much for letting me share.
Okay. Were there any others from 6 to 10 who may have come in who want to take a cake? Okay. We're going to move on to 11 to 15, if they can come up forward. 11 to 15. We're into double-digit stuff now. Okay, ladies. 11? 11? Come on down. Thank you. Give us your name and sobriety. Okay.
My name's Pat. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Pat. And my sobriety date is January 2nd, 2005. I came to this convention, Keys of the Kingdom, in 2005. I was 28 days sober, and I was amazed. I was amazed before I even started. When they say you'll be amazed before you're halfway through, I thought, wow, these people are having fun, and I tried to have as fun as much as I could. And I haven't missed a convention, this one yet. This is my home convention now. It's amazing what AA for the newcomer will do for you if you want it. I was desperate. I hit a bottom that it's to me indescribable. This last year, you know, by the grace of God, I was able to retire from my job. But the most amazing gift is, even after, you know, going through this 10th year, is, you know, you always wait for that, your child to maybe get it one of these days and try to do it the right way and just be an example and be that a living amends. And it was that call in August that, Mom, I'm going to Alcoholics Anonymous. And that was a gift this year, and I just want to share that with you, because if I didn't stay, he wouldn't know where to go. And he called me. No, I called him, and the first thing he says, he goes, I picked up my 5-month chip on the 25th of January. And that's amazing, and I want to thank each and every person in AA that's helped me, and thank you to my friends who came up here from Visalia. We come up, I gather them all the time, every year. Come on, let's go. And so these are the ones that came with me today, and I'm grateful for their friendships and their support. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, just to repeat, we're doing this for January and February, and I realize we're a little premature, but that's been our tradition in this meeting. Anyhow, come on down. Got the best job in the house.
Yes, you do. Hi, I'm Lynn, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my sobriety date is not until February 22nd, 2002. So I'll be celebrating 14 years by the grace of God and this program. And this is a tradition for my friend Pat. Of course, after she talks, it's like she made me cry, you know. Yeah, this convention is, like she said, our home convention. We're from the Central Valley, Visalia. We used to have a bigger group, but that's okay. You know, that's what I have learned here, is the friendship and the fellowship of women that have saved my life. Helped me when I couldn't help myself, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful actually to the men too, you know, because I have some long-timers that have helped me in times of need, and I'm glad that you guys told me I didn't have to do this thing perfectly, because even in sobriety I didn't do it perfect. I may not have been drinking, but I was still wanting to do some old behaviors, and I got to discover and discard it and let it go. And now today I'm in a real relationship with Lee, who has 4 years, and man, to be with a sober person as a relationship is awesome. But at the other part of it is like, wow, you know, I start taking his own inventory, I start taking his inventory, and you need to go to a meeting, you need to call your sponsor, and you know, he's got more serenity than I do, and but that balances me, and so I'm grateful for our relationship. I really mean that from my heart. And thank you to everybody, and happy birthday to Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't need, my drunk was the bar drunk. I love the bar. Love the bar, love the bar. I don't understand how people ever drink alone. I love to drink and dial, and I can't believe it, 2 minutes. Yes, I did it. Thank you.
Long-timers, huh? Long-timers meeting is at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Anyhow, okay, we're going to do year 16 to 20. Line up over here, please. 16 to 20. We got all the heavy hitters now. Okay. 16, anyone? 16?
Sweet 16?
16? Come on down.
My name is Mari, and I am an alcoholic.
Hi, Mari.
My sobriety date is January 23rd, 2000. I drank because I was thirsty. You know, in my family, beer is liquid bread, and whiskey is the water of life. And I didn't know there was anything wrong with that until I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. What Alcoholics Anonymous has brought me is emotional balance. And I maintain that by staying real close to the program. The program that's in the book, not my program, which I, but the program that's in the book. I go to the book for every single thing, and I make sure that I go to at least one book study and one 12 and 12 every week. And I take things one at a time. I can't absorb a whole page, so I take one thing, you know. Early on in my sobriety, one of the things I learned was don't say it, or speak only if it's kind, if it's helpful, and if it's necessary. And so I held on to that, and I didn't talk to anybody for 6 months. But that's what I have to do, is I have to just take one thing and focus on that. In this last year and a half or so, what I've been focusing on is if I am disturbed, it's my fault. As an alcoholic, I know I can't afford self-righteous anger or any of those other kinds of emotions. If I'm disturbed, it's my fault. And so by doing that kind of a thing, it helps me stay sober, and it helps me be here. 16 years ago, I received a book at this convention for being the youngest member at the Long Timers meeting. And I'm forever grateful to Alcoholics Anonymous for the life that it's given me. Thank you.
Go, 17?
No way.
Yeah.
I know.
Thanks a lot.
I'm Joe, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Joe. You know.
I was just thinking this is my 16th birthday cake. I'm 17 years sober last Sunday. And God, I got sober in the last millennium. I was very proud of that, but it doesn't matter. We all have just today. And I want to thank you all for showing up at this meeting, and I want to wish everybody a happy birthday. Welcome from Visalia and other parts in California and across the United States coming to this convention. You know, I said to my 7 a.m. men's stag this morning, I said, you know, an alcoholic like me doesn't get 17 years sober. I don't get a day sober. But it's through the grace of God and our program of Alcoholics Anonymous, this fellowship, that I get to be sober today, you know. And it's a day at a time, and, you know, I don't worry about tomorrow. I just try and keep my 2 square feet right here where I'm at. And God bless all my fellow cake takers. Thank you.
17, 18.
My name is Sam, and I'm very grateful recovering alcoholic.
Hi, Sam.
Hey. February 23rd, 1998 to 6,550 days ago. But who's counting? I love this, and we are not a glum lot. Believe me, I'm sorry, guys, if I had to be glum and I had to be miserable, I would go out and drink. I have too much fun in sobriety. I have a lot of fun in sobriety, a lot of fun. Through Alcoholics Anonymous, you guys taught me how I can stay sober. You taught me how I can quit smoking. I've also got 14 years off cigarettes. You guys taught me how I can be a good husband. Yesterday, I celebrated 16 years anniversary with my wife. And I also have an 8-year-old baby boy. You guys taught me how I could be a daddy. And I do that quite well. I love my son today. I've got older kids that I'm sorry to say I abandoned them when I was growing up. So this baby boy that I have today is the only one I've ever been able to be a daddy to. But because I got older kids, I've also got 3 great grandkids, and I didn't have to drink through that. And now the downside, on the 19th of last year, I also had a 25-year-old son that was in a car wreck and broke his neck, and he'll be quadriplegic the rest of his life, and I did not have to drink through that either. And I learned how to do these things through the Rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and you people, and for that I'll forever be grateful for. Thank you.
Love his enthusiasm. Anyhow, how many years? 20. Come on down.
My name is David Martin. I'm an alcoholic. I want to welcome anyone that identified themselves as new. I'm glad you're here. If you're new, you're probably thinking, wow, it's a lot of time. But I sat in that chair. Well, not that chair, but I sat in a chair just like that. And I raised my hand for 10 years as a newcomer. I went to my very first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, March 31st, 1986. I showed up with a drinking problem. 10 years later, I showed up in Alcoholics Anonymous with a drinking solution that no longer worked. And when I could wrap my arms around that, then I had a chance to get sober. I have a great life today. The only problem is I'm in it. And, I may not have been drinking in the first grade, but I probably needed one. And like so many people, I took a drink and it did something to me. And I wanted it to do it again. And I spent a long time chasing that effect. And my story is not the same story as everybody else's, but when what it did to me was worse than what it did for me, I did something about it, and not a minute before. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. It's allowed me the opportunity to make the changes in my life that are sufficient to be of usefulness to you. And I believe that what the book says, I liked what Mari said, if I've got a problem or I need an answer, I go to the big book. And at the very back of the book, it talks about the spiritual experience and how for us for some can be the burning bush, and for others it can be the educational variety. And I believe that the definition that applies to me as I've had a profound alteration in my reaction to life. And I'll leave you with this because I heard a guy say it. The only way to disprove a spiritual experience is to have one. And he told me that years ago, and it saved my life. The only way to disprove a spiritual experience is to have one.
Okay, moving on. For the months of January and February, anyone between 20 and 25 years, please step forward. The heavy hitters here. Wow. Anyone with 25?
20 to 25.
20? 25? No, 20. I'm sorry, 20? 21? Come on down. I'm sorry, thanks.
My name is Darren. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Darren.
January 12, 1995. The war on drugs is over, and I lost. I came to an AA meeting, and the old guys were there, said, it's a game you can't win, Sonny. The only way to win is not to play. Before that, I went to 2 treatment centers, 1 rehab, 1 court-ordered drug diversion, had absolutely no sobriety through any of that. And I would go to these meetings, and they would be like, well, those of you in your first 30, I was never in my first 30 days. Who would want to? What was the point? Every unmanageable thing in my life is somebody else's fault, and getting loaded is not the problem. January 12, 1995, I actually went to an AA meeting. There was no treatment center, there was no rehab, there was no court-ordered drug diversion, there was no friends, neighbors, or relatives telling me to get my shit together. I'd worn them all out. I came to AA, and the guy was leading the meeting. I think he got sober on the Mayflower, and he's like, I like listening to the new guy talk. And I actually stood up as a newcomer. And I had 4 days, and he said, new guy, get up here, tell us what's really going on. And I came up and I said something like, one more time I partied myself out of house and home. One more time my eviction is final. One more time The cops took away my car. I got no house, no job, no driver's license, warrants for my arrest. I owe everybody money. My friends won't hang out with me, and my family wants nothing to do with me. And somebody over here yelled, "Welcome," and everybody else clapped. 2 meetings a day, pray every half hour, hang out with the winners, do whatever it is they're doing, and after 1,000 days sober, none of that was true anymore. None of that was true anymore. And after 7,686 days, but who's counting, without a drink or a drug of any kind, and it is a life beyond my wildest dreams. And I was at the out-of-town meeting. Whenever you're out of town, go to the out-of-town meeting. It's like a tourist attraction. I had 6 months. I was in San Diego, and the girl said, "Don't drink anything, don't smoke anything, don't snort anything, don't take any pills. Do one thing to make your life better and go to the meeting tomorrow." And 7,680 days later, that's 7,000 things I've done to make my life doesn't look like it did when I got here.
Hey. Steve, I believe you're next. Go ahead.
Somebody get up.
Come on. How many years? They're down to the seconds over here.
Thank you. We're fighting over time. I'm Noreen, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Maureen. And I'm grateful to be here, and I'm going to thank all of you for being here because you're the ones that helped me get sober. Sobriety wasn't easy for me. I was a legend in my own mind, and so those kind of people don't take direction well, and I certainly wasn't willing to listen to your bullshit. So as a result, I took myself to a place none of you want to go. At the end of this month, I will celebrate 20 years of being transplanted twice, 2 livers because I drank. And if that isn't a miracle, I don't know what is. And I am so grateful. I have new friends. My family likes me. The reason I got sober on February the 27th, 1995, it was my natal birthday. And nobody was speaking to me, so I figured, well, hell, I'll go to AA and make that my birthday, and then I'll buy my own cake, and then I'll at least get a cake because, I mean, nobody was talking to me. That's how bad it was. But today, my life is good. All the promises have come true. But I want to tell the newcomer, just because I have 21 years doesn't mean I stop going to meetings. I go to five a week, and I'm as close to a drink as you are. If I don't go to the meetings, stick with the winners and work this program. Thank you, and have a happy birthday, all of you.
Steve, I think you're next.
I'm Steve, alcoholic.
Hi, Steve.
First of all, welcome to all the newcomers and to our friends from the Central Valley. You know, it took me 8 years to get a year. My sobriety date is January 3rd of '93, and I first came to AA in September of '85. My parents' next door neighbor, after I was drunk for about 2.5 weeks straight, brought me to the Hole in the Sky when it was on Topanga and Sherman Way. During that time period, I would look for the similarities, the differences and not the similarities. I would look for the reasons why I didn't belong here and why I wasn't the same as you. And to me, that's a telltale sign that I have a disease. And so fortunately, I was able to get my butt kicked into a state of reasonableness. And, I'm definitely a tough nut to crack, and I'm also the one that had to, learn through the educational variety. So, at a time that the student was ready, the teacher appeared, and I had some awesome teachers that were, put in my path along the way. And I think what was so important is that I finally put up that white flag and was ready to listen. I finally became teachable because, for the longest time it was, don't worry, I got this, I mean, really, I didn't have any problem with the first part of step one, being powerless over alcohol. It was the second part of step one that my life was unmanageable, that I had the most trouble with. It was probably around the time I was 21 years old when I was a .24 and I made a left turn in front of a guy on a motorcycle who T-boned my car that I realized that I had a problem with this. But, it was, took me a long time after that to finally start to get this thing, and now I am so immensely grateful that I have some awesome meetings to go to, and also that I'm just in a place where the recovery here is so rich and so deep. San Fernando Valley, hundreds of meetings to go to, people that speak my language and understand what's really going on with me, and and so that's why I just love this program, and that I love to keep coming back. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, 26 to 30 years. Come, line up. 26 to 30. 26?
26?
He's got to go to the restroom. He's going to the restroom. 26? Come on, Michael.
27.
27.
Good afternoon, my name is Michael Flynn. I'm a grateful alcoholic.
Hi, Michael.
First of all, thanks, Frank, for asking me to be up here. It's always an honor and privilege. My sobriety date is January 29th, 1989, which was yesterday. So it's kind of cool because about every 2 or 3 years, my birthday falls on the convention. And when I was in the care unit at the Humana Hilton, the convention was going on, and I heard about this thing when I was there. I was there for 30 days, and I heard about this convention. And I don't want to say, and all these people were just coming back, and I could just see this fire in their eyes and just their gratitude. And it was amazing because I don't want to say that kept me sober that first year, but it was like, man, I want to check this out. I want to see what the hell's going on. And, here it is, 27 years later, still coming to the convention. I love this convention. It's a big part of my sobriety. I had the honor and privilege of being a chair in 2004, which was probably, besides marrying my wife, one of the greatest achievements of my life. I want to thank you all. I love you all. Thank you.
28.
Hi, everybody. My name's Roland. I am an alcoholic. Let's see, January 2nd, 1988. That's when I had, that was my first sober breath that I went out and took. Actually, I stopped drinking January 1st, but the thing was that, my sponsor went out and told me, okay, when was your first sober day? That's your birthday. So that's what I go out and take it. I didn't know I had surrendered that day. January 1st, I got busted by my brother-in-law stealing his brandy. We were going to go to the Rose Parade, so I was, putting some coffee, brandy, little, brandy for me. That's what we do. The Rose Parade is closed, so you need something to keep it going. So he busted me, and then for some reason or another, I went out and said, the gig is up. I can't do this anymore. And I didn't know that I had surrendered, okay, until I started going to meetings, and that's where I heard, the music of AA and the message and everything else that I needed to go on here, what I needed to hear, and it's been a journey ever since. They went out and told me that without that surrender, there's nothing, and I think we read it on chapter 3 every time we read chapter 3. What was it? We considered our inmost selves that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. Without, not the first step and the 12 steps, but this is the first step in recovery. Okay, without that step, in other words, without that surrender, we really don't have anything to go on. And, once I understood that, everything just came together. And it's been a journey. Like I've been trying to get to this meeting, okay, for about 9 years now. But I've always had a commitment, doing something, you know, around it, and I've never been able to get to it. So this year, okay, this year I went out and didn't have any commitments to do it, no, at the convention and everything, except my sponsor goes, you're doing information from 11 to 1. I go, oh, wait a minute. Frank invited me to come over, you know, and come over here, and I go, no. So I went over there and begged somebody, please stay over for a little bit. No. So I am here, and I am so blessed to be here and be sharing the birthday with everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland.
I'm Stevie. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Stevie.
My sobriety date is January 11th, 1986. My sponsor is Merle E. in West Hollywood, and I live in the Hollywood Hills, but my home group is the Good Morning meeting in Studio City. I want to pay tribute to those past chairs specifically who are here, and more generally to everyone that came before me in Alcoholics Anonymous, and whose legacy I stand. And you know, this year I did some traveling this year, and one of the things I heard at one of the meetings, it was a husband and wife who were 30 years old, and they'd taken 5-year cakes. And the wife, when it was her turn to share, she said that they had gotten sober at an Alano Club in Portland, Oregon, and there was a sign that she remembered that said up there, and said, around here it's not a day at a time, it's moment to moment. And she said that was the thing that kept her sober, because even a day at a time is too long. If you're alcoholic like me, I mean, that's 24 hours, 1,440 minutes. It's impossible. It's impossible. So, you know, the things that are, you know, I'm here with a friend of mine who's 18 days sober, and he's been sleeping a lot during this meeting and snoring, but, you know, I find that a very spiritual thing. This is a safe place. You can fucking sleep in here, and you know it's going to be okay. So, and I was moved by the people who got sober at this convention, or who are counting days at this convention. I didn't come when I was new. I am not a people person. And, but, you know, someone who got the book at the long timers meeting for being the newest, and that to me is amazing. And then I see this cake. So 12 years ago, I played tennis every day, and it was the week before this convention on a Saturday, and it had been raining at this country club I belonged to in Pacific Palisades, and I was late to a client of mine's dinner, and when I walked in, I was an hour and a half late, and my client, not in AA or anything like that, but she knows my story, and she knew it was January, and so there was a bunch of people sitting down, and she goes, oh, Stevie, she calls me Stevie Weavy, she goes, Stevie Weavy, you getting a cake? And I go, I don't know anybody at this thing. I go, no, I was playing tennis, I'm sorry, it was raining. And she goes, oh, I figured you were, for sure you were getting a cake, that's why you were late. I go, no, I'm not kidding. And then she says, she has no guile, and she just goes, Stevie hasn't had any heroin or cocaine in 18 years. And at the far end of the table, there was a man who I was going to find out in a minute was an ADA, an assistant district attorney. And when she's talking about the cake and talking about the heroin and cocaine, he just looked up very quietly and he goes, you get cake for that? So I'm so happy to be here.
Okay. 31 to 35.
All right.
Good guess. January and February. Come on down, buddy.
Come on, Jesse.
You're good. You're good, babe.
My name is Jess, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Jess.
And God, this is one of the best things in the world for me. I love this meeting, and I love this convention. I've always been coming to it for many years. I started going to it at the Universal Studios up there, and that was my first one I ever went to, first convention. And I've been going to them ever since. You know, this has saved my life. Without Alcoholics Anonymous, I would not be here today. I'd either be in jail, dead, you know, one or the other. and there's no doubt in my mind about that. You know, you people saved my life, and I learned when I first came in here to listen to the people who came before me. You know, do what they did, follow them around, watch what they do, you know, and I did that. And my sponsor told me, get commitments. You know, the best way to stay around is get commitments, because you got to be there for your commitment, you know. So I took commitments, you know. I washed coffee cups, I washed ashtrays back when we used to be able to smoke in the meetings, you know. And when I came in, you could smoke in meetings, you know. And if you couldn't smoke in meetings, I might not be here today. Because if you couldn't smoke in meetings, that means that I'd be going out the door to have a smoke like all these people are doing today, you know. And I would miss something, and I might not have made it, you know. So I'm grateful that I came in when I did, so that I got away with that, you know. And you know, Alcoholics Anonymous is my life today, and I don't know what I would do without it. You know, I would just probably fade away and die, you know. I wouldn't drink. No matter what, I will not take another drink the rest of my life. I know that, a day at a time. But, you know, after you get so many tools in here, you know, learn how to use them, you know, and that's the whole deal, you know. And people say, well, I don't know why this don't work or that don't work. Well, you're not following what you're being suggested to you, you know. And I took, when I came in, I made you guys my higher power. Because I could actually go to you and ask you a question, present a problem to you, you'd give me an answer. Where if I took and created my own higher power, I'd be answering my own question, and that's what got me here, you know, because I was answering my own stuff. And I was a hook that I drunk and junkie and everything else. Yeah, I did everything you did, you know, but I drank booze when I was a little kid. I drank booze till the day I quit. You know, I had drugs in there too, but I always drank booze. I always had alcohol, and I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not in NACA or none of that stuff, because this covers it all for me. And thank you for being here for me.
Thank you, John. We're doing real well time-wise. 36 to 40. Okay. Sorry.
We're doing so well. I got 36 years. I get 36 minutes, right? Not
Yes,
quite.
again.
My name's Marie, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Marie.
You know, I too graduated from the, what did you call it, the Humana Hilton? Right. You know, and my birth, oh, sorry, my sobriety date is January 21st, 1980, and that's the day I ended up in the beautiful Hilton/care unit. And, you know, so I didn't even know there was a convention the first year, but the second year I came, that I was, well, it was actually my first, right after my first birthday, I came to the convention. That must have been number 6, because this is number 41. And I've been at this convention every year since then. I haven't been able to make it to every one. I haven't had to miss any, even though I live in San Diego nowadays, which really isn't all that far. You know, I did all the things that you shouldn't do when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. So I don't recommend that anybody do what I did, but it does prove that if you don't put alcohol in your mouth and you go to meetings and you're willing to become a service, you too can get long-term sobriety in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. But saying that, I want you to know somewhere along the line, I eventually had to actually work the steps, you know, in order to stay here. But, you know, service was my really saving grace. And you all let me do service, even though I called it service. I really just wanted to be the dictator of Alcoholics Anonymous. At 3 months, some of you still probably go to the beginners, Sunday night beginners, candlelight meeting in Woodland Hills. At 3 months of sobriety, I became dictator there. I was, and the reason I say I was the dictator, it wasn't just that I was the secretary and the treasurer and the cake lady and did everything but make the coffee. That's not what made me the dictator. I didn't hold elections. You know, I held that position for like about 14 months until the person who's my sponsor to this day explained to me that leadership in Alcoholics Anonymous is rotational. You know, but I still have a lot of dictator genes in me. And I really have to watch those. You know, the difference today after 36 years of sobriety is that I know when I'm trying to be a dictator and I start to gently back off. Anyhow, I'm really grateful to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, to all those who came before me, and to all of those who've come after me, because I tell you, I've gotten great words of wisdom in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and some of them have come from people that only had a few hours. you know, because we all share the same emotions. And thank you for letting me run over.
I got to tell you, hold it, Herb. I got to tell you a little quick story on Marie, and she's not the dictator. In 2002, Marie was chair of this convention, and I got a call from her one evening, and she said, "Frank, would you like to chair our marathon meetings this year?" And marathons were really at the top of the list, and I know Greg has chaired them and others, and I was amazed, and I was so fond of that telephone call, and it meant so much to me. And if I haven't told you before, I wanted to let you know again how much that meant. There was something else I was going to say, but it probably wasn't true. Herb, you're up. I can tell you a lot of stories about this guy, but I'm not going to. Come on, let's go. I already used a minute of your time.
Yeah, sorry, Herb. You only got 30 seconds.
My name's Herb. I'm an alcoholic. I'm grateful to God and AA for my life and my sobriety today. You know, ever since I was a little boy, I think even when I first opened my mouth to talk, it was my desire to become a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Really, I was so excited. You know, my sobriety dated January 3rd, 1978. And thank you. I'm 82 years old, and I owe that to my first wife because she said to me, "Only the good die young." So, you know, my life was. I went to, years ago, they called it Reform School up in Peace School, New York, you know, and I was a scared 8-year-old kid because I come from the South Bronx, as you can tell my English accent, and there was Irish and Jewish kids in the neighborhood, and the Jewish kids went to school. The Irish Catholic kids would beat us up. I'd come home beaten and bloody. My father said, we're God's chosen people. I'm wondering, what the fuck we chosen for? And so, you know, so I went back, and then when I was 8 years old, I tried to burn the Catholic church down in the Bronx, you know, and they sent me away I had to be in Reform School, upstate New York, and Peace School for 2 years. And now here I was, an 8-year-old scared little boy, had to be away from home for 2 years. You send your kid to a market down the street, you worry he's going to get back, right? But this was a long time ago. And so the bus pulled into the yard, and I was the first one off the gate. There's a bunch of black kids standing in the corner. I picked a fight with the tallest one, and he kicked my ass. Many, many years later, I met him in a cocktail party in Manhattan, and it was Floyd Patterson who became United States, the heavyweight champion. You know, I got smarter as I got older, you know. I went back to that place when I was 13 and when I was 15, and then when I was 17 and a half, I was facing 3 to 5 on a armed robbery. You know, there were 6 of us. There were 5 guys, and I decided to go into the Army, and they went into the prison. And the judge was the hanging judge, and he was the one, a lot of you guys may remember, you old guys, thoughts like him, they called him the hanging judge, Judge Sam Leibowitz. He was the man that defended a case that happened many years ago. There were 11 black young kids on a hobo train, and 2 white women declared that they had raped them. So I went into the Korean Army in April of 1950. It was peace. There was nothing going on. In June, the Korean War broke out. In August, I made my first jump at Incheon and fought in the war. And I was MIA for about a little over a year. And I hooked up with a bunch of Australians. And then eventually, I came home. And you know, and I got home, and things had changed, you know, and I was alcoholic. I was an alcoholic. My father kicked my ass out of the house when I was 11 years old, and I never finished elementary school or nothing. And I finally I got back, and I wound up on Skid Row. I had a beautiful 3-cardboard condominium in New York, you know, and then somehow or other I got to California. You know, and I was very entrepreneurial, and so I was I was panhandling. I was panhandling on Palm Springs. You know, I was panhandling, and I met an FBI agent who I had known back east. You know, not personally. You know, I just know him. And so he invited me in for breakfast. We sat down. He said to me, "Herb, you're 44 years old. Don't you realize that how you've lived your life?" And I told him, I says, "What the hell do you know? You're a cop. What are you? How smart are you?" So I went outside and I got a few feet out the door, and I realized he was right. You know, I had two beautiful daughters. My family thought I didn't know whether I was dead or alive, and I went back into the restaurant. He took me, and he held me in his arms, and I cried. And then he took me to Fellowship Hall. He took me to Fellowship Hall in the desert, all right, on Portola Road. And we went up there, and it was a Fellowship Hall. It was a AA clubhouse, you know. And he took me in there, this guy, and he invited me to a little fat bastard called Wes Manuel, and he was the third chairman of this convention, okay, and he came up to me, and the FBI guy told him about me, and he sat me down. He said, "Okay, this is what you're going to do." You know that. In those days, and he said, "I'm your sponsor." In those days, you can do that, but today, newcomers got fucking unions, so you can't tell them that. You know? And he sat me down. He sat me down in a chair, and he says, "Now I'm going to tell you what you got to do." And he told me you got to get on your knees every night and pray and all that shit. I said, "I don't believe in that shit." He said, "Do you know how to lie?" And I was insulted. I'm one of the best liars I ever met in my life, you know. And he taught me, and I wasn't allowed to share. I wasn't allowed to share for the first year. Whether it's right or wrong is unimportant. It worked for me, and it works for some people that I sponsor, and that those don't want to. Whatever. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, you know. And then I went, turn the fucking thing off. And then when I got into service. I teach people that bring their kids to the meeting. I teach them how to say fuck. You know, that's my service, all right? And, you know, the bottom line is, you know, I spent over 20 years being incarcerated, okay? I wound up on Skid Row. I did eat and everything. I wound up working in recovery for 33 years, you know, and I finally got retired of that. I live at home in Ontario with my oldest daughter. She promised to take care of me till the day I got to check out. I met my last wife. I had 5, but the last one, you see, I never knew what it was to love a woman. I didn't have a fucking clue. If I got him in bed, I loved him. If I didn't get him in bed, why would I love him? I didn't know. And so, but I married him. I felt it was the proper thing to do. And then in '89, I met my wife. She passed away in 2000, you know, and I went out of my mind. I never thought of drinking or using. But I thought about suicide. And the next thought that came in my mind, what happens if I don't go to the same place? Fucked up again, right? Anyway, I'm grateful to be here. But whatever I had to go through in order to get to where I am today, I had to go through it to become the man I am today. Thanks very much.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell a little story about Herb. In 2008, I had the honor of being chairperson of this convention. And at the time, Herb was very active on the planning committee. And Herb, I was looking for someone to lead the long-timers meeting. And nobody on the convention planning committee had 30 years. Herb had 29, and he would be 30 in January for the convention. So I went to Herb and I said, "Herb, I'd like you to be my long-timers chairperson, but you got to do 2 things." He said, "What's that, Frank?" He says, "Number one, you can't drink because you don't have 30 years either yet. You can't drink between now and the convention." "Okay, what's the second thing?" I said, "You can't use the F word." "Okay, no problem." So we get to the long-timers meeting, and I'm sitting there, and Herb says, "My name is Herb, I'm an alcoholic," and Frank said, "I can't say fuck."
That is celebrating like 56 years, and thank God I get never caught up there.
He's coming up. Okay, 41 to 45. 41 to 45. Okay, moving on. 46 to 50. Okay, last but not least, 50 plus. I think we have one. Bob's going to come up in a sec. He's a good friend of mine for many, many years. He's a friend of the convention, and he was also the captain of the Mayflower. Come on. No, this is it. After which we have cake.
Okay. Thanks, Brad. My name's Bob. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Bob. My sobriety date is January 19th, 1959. I was 27 years old. That makes me 84 today, and I've been sober and active in this program for 57 years. And I don't use the F word. My native tongue when I got here was profanity. And one of my early on advisors or sponsors or whatever you wanted to call them in those days said, Bob, if you want to get somewhere in life, you're going to have to learn to talk to people without profanity. You're a salesman. Do you do it in front of sales calls? I said, no. Then you said you can't do it in meetings either. This is a place when a woman walks in, she's a lady. When a man walks in, he's a gentleman. And some of them are kind and gentle men, and they don't want to hear that. So I don't do it. Anyway, that's not a lecture. It's just the way it is with me. I was in sales most of my life after I got out of the pump and gas business when I was drinking. My wife said to me one time, you always going to drink that much? And I said, we do. That's what my family does. We drink. You always going to work in a gas station? I said, that's what I do. I work in a gas station. So anyway, long story, but I got into sales for a long time and attended a lot of classes and conducted some sales classes as a sales manager. And one of the things people used to stress is what motivates people. What makes people do what they want to do or buy what you have to sell? And it was always the same. Fear, gain, pride, and imitation. Those were the four things that motivate people. But here, it's different. And I've been able to go through the four motivations of life here. And they are to find yourself, to know yourself, to love yourself, and to share yourself. And that really works. One more thing. If I can quote or paraphrase Mick Jagger, it's only AA, but I like it.
I know we went through the gamut. Is there anyone who may have come in during the course of the meeting who wants to take a birthday celebration? Okay, moving on. It is time to close the meeting. I would like to thank everyone for being here and thank you for your participation. I would also like to thank the convention committee for allowing me to be the honor and privilege of leading this meeting. And once again, happy birthday to all the cake takers. I'd also like to thank my readers, Joe, Michael, Steve, and Greg. And I also like to thank where's Joel? Joel? He left. I want to thank my good friend Joel for helping out with the supplies and the cakes and so forth, and Irene for her contribution also this morning. So we're gonna cut the cake after we close the meeting, and at this time I'd like to have Joe M. read a vision for you, and followed by a moment's meditation and the Lord's Prayer. Thank you again for allowing me to be of service.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Caper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control is connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right, but I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.